Hey, how's it going? Jason here, and in this episode we're going to be talking about this black pine I have right here. Alright, so this tree, I'm not sure if you remember, but was the original tree from the video on how to cut your black pine candles. I'm not sure if you remember it, but back then it definitely did not have nearly as many branches as it does now, but it's definitely come a long way. If you keep up on your candle cutting every year, you'll get the branches to come out, you'll get more ramification on your branches, and you'll definitely get some finer needles, and also those needles will get shorter over time as well. So this tree has come a long way, but it is kind of messy. You can kind of see it's got the branches, but it is a little bit messy. So we're going to apply some wire and see if we can get this looking nice. So one thing I noticed straight off the bat is that I don't really like the positioning of the tree anymore. Originally I had it in this position, that's why I potted it this way. But it looks like I want to change it a little bit and we'll move it a little bit more upright like this. So when I position the branches right now, I'm going to keep that in mind so that when I go to repot this, you can kind of see the soil is a little bit old. I'll show you later, but you can kind of see that the soil is a little bit old. So this is going to get repot probably in the next 2 months once the weather cools down. And then when I repot it, I'll position it maybe in the same pot because I like the pot. And we'll put it a little bit more straight than it is right now. Right now it's leaning to the right a little bit too much. So I'm going to reposition it a little bit, and I think it'll look really nice. So right now I'm going to apply some wire. We'll make this look good. And then 2 months from now, we'll do a repot on it and put it into a nice position. So I got my tools right here. Got my shears, got my wire cutters. I got my wire over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start wiring this tree, and we'll see if we can get this looking a little bit better than how it looks right now. All right, so I've got this all wired up, and it looks pretty good. I don't think it looks too bad. I've got the layers all figured out here. I've got this nice first, this pad layer here, this pad layer here. I've got kind of the in-between one here, right here, and I think it looks pretty good. So with the black pines, it's a little different than the junipers. With the junipers, you can kind of layer them out one by one. With the black pines, what you have to do is you have to use the needles and the growth and kind of twist them back in so that it looks like there's actually foliage and needles on the inside of these pad layers right here. So if I bring this up a little closer, you can kind of see that, like on this pad here, right there, you can see that it looks like there's branches all the way in here. And basically what's going on inside there is the branches are twisting out and going back in so that they can have needles and pop out right in the middle of that pad layer. And that's sort of how you work with black pines, is that you want to twist those branches back in with wire so that you can create a fuller looking pad. One thing on this tree, it still needs some work. I repositioned it. It's coming forward a little bit more, leaning to the left, and it's coming forward a little bit more. I've got these fancy cardboard blocks right here, just to tilt it at that angle, but it's going to be potted a little differently. So originally I was thinking about using the same pot, but I'm thinking maybe I'll go a little bit bigger. It looks like that pot's gotta be about this big, so maybe about 1 inch wider, and that should do the trick. One thing I don't like about this tree, and this is just sort of something that basically requires time, is that right here it's so open, you can see in it right there, and this crown should really be full. And what's going on with this tree is that I've got this, I've got my layers and the structure set, but I still need more foliage right around this area so I can fill in this crown and really get this thicker to hide this mess right here. Because kind of an ugly part of this tree is right in here, so we want to hide that as much as possible. So I cut the candles on this about a month ago, and I wired it today. And sort of the reason I did that was because, one, after you cut the candles, it's going to have a lot of sap on it, so when you're wiring, you'll get all the sap all over your fingers. You're going to get sap all over your fingers regardless, but you'll get a little bit less. Another reason I decided to wire it today is because I'm starting to see little buds coming out of where I cut the candles. There's little ones right here, but when these buds start to come out, they'll also start to develop needles, and those needles will be very delicate and will fall off very easily when you start to wire. So this is kind of a nice middle ground right now, is that there's not a lot of sap, fresh sap on the tree. The buds have just appeared, but there's no needles for me to really break off. And all the existing needles right here are really nice and tough, so I can be pretty aggressive with my wiring here. So I'm looking forward to repotting this once the weather cools down. It's been about 100 degrees here every day. So once the weather cools down, I'll get to repot this thing. I'll get to repot this tree, which I'm really looking forward to. And then really it's just developing this crown, and then I'm on maintenance mode on this. I'll take off all the wire, and then I'll just be maintaining the candles, cutting them back, and just kind of shaping it that way. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video on this black pine. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.